learning to arguing well in a conversation with a partner, with anyone really, but specifically with a partner. That's a conversation that I've been having a lot recently with people that I'm really close to, friends, family. And one of the biggest lessons I've learned about having a successful relationship is arguing well. The truth is we're going to disagree. When I was young, I used to believe that not arguing was the key to the success of the relationship, that you shouldn't argue. I grew up in a very argumentative home. Almost every conversation was an argument, disagreements, there was screaming, yelling, as you can imagine. So I think I overcorrected as I got older to this idea that a good relationship should have no arguing. Well, obviously that was foolish and naive. You're going to disagree. It's inevitable. Ideally, and this is the big premise of this entire video and my philosophy around this as well, is if you truly love each other, if there's still love in the relationship, there's still care, tenderness, compassion for the other person, then the argument is not the end of the world. Is actually a great thing, because it's something that you could probably resolve if you have the same values in life. If you do not, if you're too far gone in your relationship and there's nothing but disgust, disdain, malice, then you're probably arguing because you hate each other or can't stand each other. Then obviously whatever I say after this, next within this video, is of no significance, and you're probably going to tell me I'm stupid. Anyway, still tell me that, that's fine. Arguing well. Arguing essentially, as I've learned, is when two people are misaligned. One person wants one thing, so they're on one lane, and the other person wants something else on another lane. So it's realigning, right? One person has an expectation, and that's a topic for another video that I want to talk about, is essentially everything that we feel is a conflict between what's happening in real life and an expectation that we may have had. So within two people, a couple, essentially, this is specifically for couples or even parents, sons, parents and children. You're misaligned. You have different expectations of what things should be. Well, once again, this is not for cheating. This is not for stealing from each other, violating each other's trust in that way. That might be able to be resolved, but that's not for the topic. It was just day-to-day arguing or crap that you may get into that turns into bigger things. Arguing is really important. So you're trying to realign each other. You're trying to get back in tune. I have a really, really great relationship, so I'll use myself as an example. And I've also been in relationships that, although good, were hostile. So number one, if you're arguing, know that it is human nature when two people or more than two people are in a group, in a relationship, whatever it may be, you're going to disagree. So that's number one. Just be okay with the arguing, the disagreements. Don't be okay with the hate if you're just absolutely slamming each other. And that's another rule for being able to argue well. And I learned this when I was in training, in the training department a long time ago. As a basic rule, never attack the person. Never call them names. You're stupid. You're a moron. This is why I can't stand you. If you truly love each other, you shouldn't be attacking each other like that. Anyone is. But now it becomes about the human, and it becomes an attack. It becomes a personal attack. You should be criticizing, speaking on the behavior itself. What you did hurt me, or what you did doesn't align with our values as a couple. Specifically with children, I always use this with my children as well. It wasn't an argument per se, but it was a coaching session or a parenting session. It's never label them. You're just stupid. I used to get that all the time as a kid. You know, you're the stupidest kid. The older you get, the more stupid you. How is that going to help this conversation if now the individual, the human being, feels like they're not valuable or worthwhile, or they just feel insulted? Today's episode of Becoming Better Ancestors is brought to you by me. That's right, TV the Marketer, founder of Rockstar Marketing, where we help small businesses stop being invisible and start becoming on unforgettable. That's what you are. If you run a local business and you're tired of throwing money away on ads that don't work, or worse, trusting your cousin's friend who does marketing on the side, it's time to call in the pros. We do digital advertising, video marketing, AI integrations, and strategy that actually gets results. No fluff, no excuses, just ROI. Head on over to www.rockstar.marketing. It's a real thing. And let's make some marketing magic happen. Speak on the behavior. Keep it on the behavior that you don't agree with. Let me see here. So never call names. Let me back up a little bit. If you get into an argument and you find yourself incredibly emotionally just triggered and you feel like you're about to lash out, dose. And I'll speak from personal experience. In my relationship, like I was saying earlier, I have a fantastic relationship, but of course we argue. And there's been a handful of times where I lost my mind, and I tend to not scream or raise my voice, but I definitely did a couple of times. In one instance, I had to walk out. You have to take a beat if it's that hostile. You have to take a break to let the emotions subside because your nervous system is it wants to react or wants to defend you. You have to remember that. If you react instinctively and in the moment, it is not in your best interest because you're not thinking rationally per se. You're not going to say the things that you're probably going to say things that hurt the other individual. So when I say take a beat, it could be just taking a few minutes and walking away, going for a walk. I say this to people all the time, is just go for a walk and come back. And in some instances, I told my partner, my fiance, I don't want to talk about it. I love you, but I don't want to talk about it because I know I'm going to say something or it's going to come off way too emotional. And I'm not going to talk about it. And the craziest things happen. At least I feel like this is what will happen for you as well if you take this approaches. Okay. I'll use me as an example. Maybe not you, but it's often I wake up in the morning and I remember that I was mad the night before, but I don't remember what it was about. And there was no alcohol involved. I can't just sleep, allowed it, I guess, to just rest. And I remember, and now I feel this desire to apologize. Now, once again, if it was somebody cheating on you, if she was cheating on me, I'd remember that, but it's not that. And that's the point. It was probably some insignificant argument about something that really doesn't matter. And that's the thing that I have found that in our relationship is true, and that it wasn't true in many other relationships. What I witnessed in my home is that the smallest things would trigger the other person. And at times that would happen to me in real time with my person. And I would realize, why am I getting pissed? This doesn't even matter where the forks go, who took the trash out. Right. So it's stupid stuff like that. So unless it's cheating, of course, I would remember that. So I'm not trying to say, you're going to forget that. But in most instances, and if you're being honest, it's not going to be significant. Next big rule for me is, try to take care of these things as they come up. You can't put off these conversations. If you know that something bothers you, something hurt you, your expectations were met, that you were expecting, or maybe your partner said that they would be going to pick you up at 8 and they didn't show up to 8:45, and you've been ready. I actually had a relationship where I got furious. The woman I was dating told me she'd be at my place at 8. She didn't get there till 10, and then made me feel like an idiot for even being annoyed by it. And I was furious. Anyways, but taking care of that argument in real time, the more consistent you are with that, for me, it's been really clear. The more the day-to-day relationship is easy. The problem, I think, and maybe I'm speaking the obvious, but I'll go ahead and share, is in most instances, we just try to brush things off. Okay, I'll get over it. No, you won't. You'll distort in your mind for later. I mean, you add that over 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks, years of doing that, the inevitability that you're going to blow up at each other over small things is pretty stinking high. Hey there, it's me again. This episode, in case you forgot, of the Becoming Better Ancestors is sponsored by yours truly. I'm TV, the guy behind Rockstar.Marketing. We help purpose-driven businesses go from best kept secret to everybody's talking about them using digital ads, compelling video, and marketing that actually works. If you got a message that matters but need help getting it heard, we should talk. Head over to www.rockstar.marketing and let's make you impossible to ignore. Really, really high. And that's something to keep in mind. When you blow up, it's not because one thing triggered you, because the dishes weren't done. It's because there's a lot of other things that were unresolved. And it's a lot of work, but if you're maintaining that on a day-to-day basis, week-to-week basis, it becomes easier to clean, to take out that trash, right? To sit down and talk about it because they're being honest and sincere. I think it's really common for people in relationships to try to keep the peace and not argue. And I can respect that. I've done that myself. And then later I realized I was just being a chicken shit. I was being a coward because there was things that really did bother me and I was trying to pretend like it did. And obviously when it boiled over, then things were said, emotions were hurt, people were hurt, and it didn't serve the purpose. It didn't serve the relationship. You're just putting off the inevitable. The relationship will end at one point or another. And maybe it should, and that's the point. If it's something that continues to happen and the other person doesn't really make amends or try to make it better, or you don't feel like you need to, you buddy, you're truly putting off the inevitable. And maybe you aren't a good match. And I'm just going to call it because I think too many people force relationships. They're forcing that piece of the puzzle to fit them. And in many cases, it just doesn't work, Papa. They're trying to force this piece to fit because of convenience, because this is the best we can do, because maybe this is what it's about. And that's a real thing, right? I can remember many relationships where I thought this is the best I could do, so I just need to suck it up. And clearly this is the way relationships work because my parents used to do this all the time. So I should just be in a really hostile, volatile, toxic relationship. And it's not the case. If you don't talk about it, you're forcing something. So one, you're going to break up and it's going to be other. And you're going to dump on each other at the end. Everybody's going to blah. Or two, you're going to stay in that relationship and you're both going to be miserable. And that's not good, is it? I don't think it is. Now I believe that we deserve to be happy. And there are people that will align with our values if we're truly being honest, sincere, loving, faithful, all those good things. We all deserve that. So being miserable you should not be okay with being miserable unless that's just, well, I guess if that's your thing, buddy, if you get off on being miserable, then good for you. But if you desire a relationship that actually serves you, empowers you, loves you, makes you feel seen, heard, wanted, then you probably should have those tough conversations and move on. You have to be honest. There's somebody out there for you. It's just a matter of time. If you just continue to be honest, work on yourself and develop that and learn to argue. And going back to the beginning, the arguments aren't the end of the world. Arguments are beautiful. I find, and I heard this from a friend of mine, that, and this is personally true, I believe this to be true. Once I have an argument with my person and we talk about it with my woman, there's this sense of joy because we overcame something that was bugging us. Maybe we both were hostile and angry and I literally had to walk off one side. It was bad. I'm like, I'm out of here. Don't talk to me. When I came back, I felt a little better. I sat down. We were able to talk. But if you find that and you're able to come to peace, oh my God. And I think that's why makeup sex is so good. Because if you're truly making up and realigning, then you're going to find yourself in such a beautiful place with that person. If you do that consistently, you're going to find that the big things are not that big and the small things are really stupid. Argue well, debate well. Don't attack each other. Attack the behavior or this alignment, the expectation that you have. Maybe it was an expectation that was foolish on one person. Maybe it was realistic and you just didn't know it. I know I was guilty of that. My girl I dated once had some expectation of what a man should do. And I, and naive and dumb and kind of hood, I didn't know what a gentleman should do. She would be furious at me. And I'm like, why is she so mad? I don't get it. But it's because she had an expectation that I didn't even know about. Once we spoke, I'm like, yeah, I can do that. I can walk on the outside of the street. I can open every door. I can do those things. It's not a big deal. But the anger that she had for me, the hostility was through the roof, and I couldn't understand why. So that's just an example of having those conversations and being able to understand what the other person wants and realigning. This is something that I'm really passionate about in terms of arguing, because I literally have had this conversation 6 or 7 times in the last few weeks when talking to younger people or just people that are going through some things. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Share this with someone that could benefit from this. My name is TV. This is the Becoming Better Ancestors show. And until next time, bye-bye.